In today's video, we're going to be going through my ultimate gel blaster buying guide, also known as my top 10 best gel blaster list. We're going to start off with the best accessories, ammo, stuff like that, and then we're going to move to the 10 best gel blasters that you can get in 2024. And before we start, the prices that I say in this video are as of now, and that might not apply to the future watching of this video. Let's start off by talking about gel balls. Gel balls are clearly needed to shoot your gel blaster in the first place, along with do gel blaster wars like I usually do. There are tons of different options across Amazon that you could choose from, but I have two really good ones that work really well. Starting off, we have the SplatRBall 20,000 rounds of ammo package with a refill bottle. As you can see, there isn't 20,000 rounds in here because I have to grow some of this for the video. This is the higher quality of the ammo I'll be talking about today, also just because it's name brand. The SplatRBall ammo is very high quality gel blaster ammo. Along with the 20,000 rounds that come in this, you get this really nice refill bottle. All you gotta do is grab your ammo bucket, this one that we'll be talking about in a bit, pour about half the bottle in, and then let it soak for about 3 to 4 hours. And I'll show you more about the bucket in a segment in a little bit. The refill bottle is pretty decently sized, holding around 600 to 700 fully grown bullets. But due to the blocky structure of this thing, the bullets don't funnel out real well, but it works for how it needs to. But the refill bottle is great for loading magazine-fed blasters, since most of those don't work really well with the depot bucket we'll be talking about. For example, this is really good for the magazines in the SRB1200, SRB400, and SRB400 sub, or you can use it for internal hoppers like the Hypergel Clutch, the Nebula Pro, and such stuff like that. This package has a retail price of $10, but usually you can find it for a $7 to $8 price point, but I've seen these as low as $1.50, and I picked up, let's just say, a few of these when I found it at that price point. So if you do want to get one of these refill bottles along with the 20,000 rounds of ammo, will be linked down in the description. Anyways, let's talk about the second option. And here we have the 120,000 round bundle of ammo. On the table, we only have 100,000 right now because I have to grow 2 of these packs for the video. And the 120,000 round pack is actually filled with surprisingly high quality ammo. I used this ammo for almost all of my earlier gel blaster wars until I ran out because they went out of stock on Amazon. And the reason why I use this ammo is because it's really high quality for only a $16 price point. All these packets of ammo come in a sealed white bag. You get 40,000 orange pieces of ammo, you get 40,000 blue pieces of ammo, and then you get 40,000 rainbow colored pieces of ammo. Same thing as the previous ammo, just pour 10,000 of these into a bucket and let it grow for 3 to 4 hours. For a $16 price point, getting 120,000 rounds of ammo, that's like the best you can get out there, even considering that it's very high quality. There's not much of a better way you can go with gel blaster ammo than getting this. So if you want to get this gel blaster ammo, it will be linked down in the description. Anyways, let's get into the next product. Let's say you want to do a gel blaster war at night, or you just want to shoot glow-in-the-dark ammo. You're going to need a tracer unit for that, but before we could talk about tracer units, you're going to need some gel blaster ammo that glows in the dark. This is where the gel blaster StarFire ammo packs come into play. Currently, I only have a 5,000 pack of these because, well, I didn't want to buy another 10,000 of these for a video, but usually these are sold in packs of 10,000. And these bullets are made to glow in the dark with any gel blaster that has a trace unit installed. Hydrate these bullets for around 3 to 4 hours and then they're ready to use. These bullets have been known to appear and then disappear on Amazon every so often, but I do have the link in the description if you do want to find out. You could buy a 30,000 pack bundle of these for around $27, which is pretty expensive, but they're definitely worth it. Anyways, let's get right into the tracer units. Some blasters, like one of the blasters that I'm going to mention later in this video, have a built-in trace unit, but most gel blasters do not, so I'm going to be quickly showing you the right tracer unit for your gel blaster. Starting off, we have one for your basic gel blaster brand lineup. Take your gel blaster Surge, Surge XL, StarFire, StarFire XL, or Piranha and slide this right into the original feed neck space. Make sure you have 2 AAA batteries to install right in this slot here. Slide on top your blaster, then screw the hopper in with some glow-in-the-dark ammo, and then you can get to shooting. This activator costs right around $15 to $20, which is pretty expensive just for this piece right here, but if you do want to shoot glow in the dark and you don't have a tracer unit with your gel blaster product, you might want to get one of these. Anyways, it'll be linked down in the description. Let's get right into the next tracer unit. Maybe you have a SplatRBall brand blaster, then this is what you need for that. This is the SplatRBall Pyro glow in the dark magazine. This magazine holds 550 rounds of ammo, is made for the SplatRBall SRB400 variants along with the SRB1200. All you gotta do is take out the original magazine and just slap this one right in. Make sure you have glow in the dark ammo loaded up in this first so you can actually shoot it. This magazine does require 2 AAA batteries that slides in right in here. Turn on the magazine, just switch on the on button and it's ready to go. The Pyro magazine is usually found in the $20 to $30 range, which is quite expensive, but it's definitely worth if you want to have those nighttime wars or just a bigger ammo capacity for the SRB400 models. Anyways, if you want to get this, it's linked down in the description. Let's get on to the last tracer unit. For the last tracer unit, we have the Nerf Nightfall hopper. This glow-in-the-dark hopper is only made for the Nerf Legion, the Nerf Raid, the Nerf Mythic, and the Nerf Gelfire Uproar. This hopper holds around 500 rounds of ammo, but it requires 3 AAA batteries. Just install the batteries and press the orange button button on the back, and it's easily installed onto the top of your compatible blaster. Other than that, this one's pretty simple. You do have an iron sight on the top. Just press the orange button to get going, and you're ready to shoot. If you do want to get this trace unit, it'll be linked down in the description. Anyways, let's get right on to the next topic. Now on to the most important thing that you must have for a gel blaster is protective eyewear. If you plan on doing gel blaster wars, you're gonna need it. Most people use just these regular pairs of protective eyewear, which are decent, but I don't usually use them. Sometimes I just wear my sunglasses because it's usually too sunny out and it's much more comfortable for me. But luckily, Gel Blaster came out with this brand new protective eyewear. It's not just protective eyewear, but it also doubles as a face mask. Honestly, I don't like wearing these things, but they're definitely a good help if you plan on using very powerful gel blasters or if you want to protect your face if you're a kid. When I first saw these, I was like, that's stupid. This thing must be so uncomfortable, but boy, was I wrong. In this box, you get this face mask itself along with detachable eye ring trim. The mask itself has an adjustable strap on the back so you can tighten it straight to your head side. Also, you can detach the bottom piece of this just in case you want to run protective eyewear and not want this lower face protection. As I mentioned earlier, you could switch the eye trim on this. All you have to do is pull that off. Then you could slap a new one right on. Just like that, click in place, and now this thing's all ready to go. During hot Gel Blaster War days, this thing's gonna be covered in sweat, so on hot days, I wouldn't really recommend using these things. Let's slide the glow-in-the-dark trim back on. Yes, this is glow-in-the-dark trim for these goggles. This trim is really cool looking, and it actually works quite well. If you plan on being stealthy during nighttime wars, wouldn't really recommend that trim, but if you wanna be known and have people know exactly where you are, definitely a good option. Luckily, these face masks are actually relatively cheap. You can usually find these on Amazon for around $10 to $13, which actually is a really good deal. So if you do want to pick up one of these cool pairs of goggles, it'll be linked down in the description. Anyways, let's get right on to the next product. Now let's talk about my favorite gel blaster invention, the infamous Ammo Depot bucket. I currently have 8 of these things, but all of these have ammo in them that I grew for this video. And I plan on getting more in the future because the gel blaster wars are getting bigger and I'm going to keep needing more ammo. They're relatively cheap and they're also really good to use and they're a big help during gel blaster wars. These tubs are collapsible for easy travel and storage. Just make sure it's unfolded to continue for these next steps. Make sure the faucet is closed so nothing spills out, and then take your 10,000 packet of gel balls and pour them right in. Afterwards, fill up to the water line and let your ammo grow. Just like this beautiful time lapse I got right here, which took me 2 tries because the last one, the file got corrupted and I couldn't use it, and it really made me angry. When you waited for around 3 to 4 hours, pull up the faucet 1 click and let all the water drain out. Just like right here, I have some water in these buckets. Let's let it drain. When it's that high up, it definitely splats everywhere. Like what I'm doing right now, you might have to put your hand in there just to make sure water gets out, because the last thing you want is leftover water residue getting into your blaster and absolutely ruining the whole thing. Got almost all the water out of there. What you can do is put it through the top and load it up like that, but when there's no water down here, which still water coming out, we could fill this up. There we go. Then the ammo starts pouring right in. Once you're done, just close out the faucet. And right now I have a decently loaded hopper. These buckets are very helpful during my big gel blaster wars, and I've used them in every single video for a gel blaster war since I've gotten them. And I never plan to stop on using them anytime soon because they work very well. To get one of these, they're linked in the description. You can usually find them for around the $10 to $11 price point, and for that price point, I want to pick up 2 or 3. Anyways, let's get right on to the next product. Now I got a question for you guys. What's the best way to test out your accuracy with a gel blaster? If you said targets, you'd be correct. Whether that's just regular target practice for fun or if you're practicing for your next gel blaster war to defeat your enemies. That's when these amazing targets come into clutch. These targets come in a pack of 3. I have all 3 right here, and they are 16 by 24 inches. Here's the conversion in centimeters for those European folks and non-American people. These targets are water activated, which means you shoot the bullet at them and then it leaves a mark. Those water marks allow you to keep track of your shots. These ones that I have here right now are rainbow colored, which means it shows different rainbow patterns throughout the target. You have these ones along with blue activated ones, which just shows blue. Shots stay on the target for around 15 to 25 minutes in indoor conditions, which is actually very long, which I absolutely hate doing because it delays the amount of time I can do gel blaster reviews with. But outside, the bullets disappear in around 2 to 5 minutes, which is actually really quick. If you're shooting a blaster within 25 feet of these targets that shoot over 200 FPS, I'm just gonna say it will absolutely destroy your target, so I'd highly advise against it. And if it doesn't rip it, it's most likely just gonna leave a permanent marking on it, but it won't stay dark the whole time. You'll just be able to see it. These targets are used in all my gel blaster review videos just because they're easy to show the accuracy of blasters. All you have to do is tape one of these to a surface, whether it's a concrete wall, which is what I usually do. Just make sure you put them on a flat surface so they'll work properly. You can get these targets for around $13 to $16 for a 3-pack, which is actually decently priced. Just make sure you don't use too powerful blasters close range because you'll absolutely destroy them. To pick up some of these targets, whether it's the rainbow ones I have here or the blue ones, they'll be linked down in the description. Anyway, let's get right on to the next product. And for the final product we're going to talk about, Bee Gel Nades. Not just one of them, we got 5 of them. Used to have 6, but if you watch the full review on these things, you know that... Yeah. Got absolutely destroyed. These things are called the Bee Gel Nades. These things are something new to the YouTube channel, and I thought it'd be really fun to have some of these. I'm just gonna give you a spoiler, they're not that perfect, but they are definitely a fun thing to use. My friends and I made a full video on these things a little while back, and to this day, it's my favorite gel blaster review I've ever had on this channel. I'm not going too in-depth in this video on them, so I'll put the link up at the right just in case you want to watch the full review on these things, but don't go there yet, because I'm not done with this video. But these gel nades hold 150 rounds of ammo each. Just twist the circle off the bottom, and then you can load bullets. After it's loaded, twist the cap back on, and then after you're done, pull the pin. And then what you can do is just toss it towards the enemy. Just like that. As we found out in the full review, you don't want to absolutely launch these things at the ground because we broke one of these things. They're not that durable, I'm just going to say that. So don't launch these things at the ground because they will end up breaking. The blast radius of these things is not the 25 feet that it's marked on the box. It's closer to 10 to 15 feet. And it doesn't even hurt. And if you're wearing thick clothing like a sweatshirt and sweatpants, you might not even feel it. You only feel it when you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt. They're a cool addition to Gel Blaster Wars or just a cool gadget to have and play with, but it's not all that practical. But in case you do want to get these Gel Blaster Nades, I'll have them linked down in the description. And I'll link the awesome full review back up at the right. Now without further ado, let's get into the list of the top 10 best gel blasters, which is probably the reason why you clicked on this video in the first place. For each blaster, I'll be showing the FPS numbers, the RPS numbers if they have full auto or any sort of cool feature. You'll see what I mean by that in a bit. And I'll also be doing a pain test on each blaster at the end of the quick of each overview to show how much it hurts. But first I must tell you this is my opinion, not what are my favorite blasters, but what I think are the best performing. Because if I were to put my favorite blasters on the list would be terrible. But I'm just going through what's best and what's best quality, performance, value, and just overall use. So please don't rip me apart in the comment sections like that's been previously done. I've had to delete so many comments because people would get in fights in my comment section. But anyways, let's get right into number 10. At the number 10 spot, we have a blaster that I wish made it higher on the list, but I couldn't give it any higher just because some of the other blasters that are on this list. That gel blaster being the StarFire 2. Well, also the Surge 2, but still haven't been able to find any of those models around here. All the facts that I say for this will apply to the Surge 2, except maybe the tracer unit and the flashlight at the front. Making sure not to confuse people, I'm not talking about the original Surge or StarFire models, because honestly, I'm just gonna say it, those things kind of suck. If you've watched my Gel Blaster Surge review, you'll know it's honestly a piece of trash. When I first unboxed the StarFire 2, I honestly thought it'd be the same exact thing as the regular StarFire, which honestly isn't that good at all. But if you watched the video, you know how surprised I was when I actually tested this thing out. The StarFire 2 comes with a 1,000 round hopper, 10,000 rounds of green gellets, 5,000 rounds of glow-in-the-dark gellets, protective eyewear, a low-velocity barrel, a low-velocity barrel adjustment tool, and a battery charger. Unlike the original Gel Blaster StarFire, this one has an integrated tracer unit. Unlike the old Surge and StarFire models, this one you do not have to buy a tracer unit for. The Surge did not come with a tracer unit, so you'd have to spend $15 to $20 just to get the tracer unit itself. The StarFire came with one, but it also came with an extra price. That tracer unit still fits onto this blaster along with the other newer models, but honestly, it's pointless considering you already have a built-in tracer unit. On the back of this blaster, you have a fire select switch. In the middle, you have an S marking safety. You have semi-auto if you push to the left. Sounds like full auto, but it's actually semi-automatic. It's just that this thing has a very high trigger response, as you can see. And then when you push it to the right, you have full auto. I hate making these videos when neighbors walk by. Look like an idiot. The new blue and green color design of this blaster is actually much better in my opinion than the old white and purple models. The old models were just plain, but with this new color design, definitely a cool feature. To charge this blaster, there's a USB-C plug-in on the bottom. All you have to do is take the charger which comes in the box or any other USB-C charger plug-in and then just put it in. If you plan on playing in wet conditions like the snow or just wet rain, of course rain's gonna be wet, I'd recommend putting a piece of tape over that to make sure that water doesn't get into your blaster to completely ruin the whole thing. Some other cool features of this blaster is that it has a built-in flashlight at the front. All you have to do is press the button at the front, shoot one round, and then it turns on. Right now during the daytime it probably doesn't look that well, but the clip on screen right now is at night. It's not that powerful, but it's something. Turn it off, all you have to do is press it again and then it's off. Probably one of my favorite things about this blaster is the semi-auto trigger response. As you've seen, It's absolutely nuts. As you know, I've tried a lot of blasters out there, and by far this is either the highest or one of the highest trigger response blasters I've ever used. Definitely a top 3 contender for trigger response. Also, as I previously stated, this thing comes with a low velocity barrel, which is already in it right now. I have the regular one here just because I was testing FPS a little while ago. But it's easy to install. All you have to do is pull the fin tips off and the flashlight. Then you can take the green velocity adjustment tool that comes with it, twist the orange barrel out, which I have in right now, slide the new one back in, and then just twist it into place. Afterward, just slide the flashlight back on like that, fin tips back on, and it's good to go. Some people might be wondering, what's the point of having a low velocity barrel if it's just going to lower the FPS? Personally, I would have no use for it because I like getting that full power out of blasters, but if parents are looking for gel blasters for their kids, definitely a pretty cool idea to have. If you want your kids to be able to use one of these things without leaving big welts on you, it's definitely a cool feature. No matter what barrel you have in, the RPS will stay at a steady 11 rounds per second, which is absolutely crazy. But it takes the original 155 to 160 feet per second of this blaster down to around 100 to 120. That 100 to 120 FPS is still pretty good compared to some blasters I've tested, but definitely a little bit of a step down. The original FPS of this blaster is still not even that good compared to some of the other blasters that I'll be showing you on this list. But it definitely is good to have that lower FPS option just in case you want to use it. And the RPS for this size of a blaster is really high. And I did chronograph the trigger response on this thing on semi-automatic, and I got around 6 rounds per second. Pretty insane for this. This blaster is packed with features and comes with quite a few things. It's a great option for a first blaster for a kid or just a beginner. Whether it's something for a gel blaster war or just having backyard fun, it's a great option. Some people might be thinking it's not that good during gel blaster wars with that performance, but you'd be surprised because I'd pick this over most of the blasters in my collection for a gel blaster war. The final price of this blaster comes in around $48 to $50, which is quite expensive for this small of a blaster, but luckily you get mostly what you pay for. But don't worry, there'll be cheaper blasters on this list, so make sure you stay tuned. Sadly, it's only available at Walmart at this time of filming. Hopefully it comes out on Amazon soon, but the link will be down there in the description. And let's get right into number 9. And number 9 might actually surprise most people because these blasters are used a ton in my videos. For this test, we're going to start off with the StarFire 2, and then I'm going to switch the barrel over to the low velocity barrel and see if it hurts any less. Should be in the back. That's actually not bad. That's like a solid 3, maybe a 4, just twitchy. Okay, now we got the low velocity barrel on. Let's see how much it hurts.
Oh, that's like nothing.
Yeah, it's like a 1 or a 2. That's not bad at all. Okay. Thought it would have been cool to have the coolest intro for the 2 coolest blasters in this video. Those blasters being the Emerbu MK18 and the Emerbu AK74U. A few people might think I'm lying when I say I put these at the number 9 spot, but honestly that's what they deserve. If this list was based on what I like, these would both probably be at the number 3 spot, but sadly this is not what this video is about. And I'm not just ranking these 2 blasters, I'm ranking the Emerbu brand as a general, besides the TPERS, which I bought, and now that thing misfeeds every single shot, which just sucks. But every other Emerbu blaster that they have on the website, it usually falls into one of these performance levels on these blasters. And they're basically almost all the exact same thing when it comes down to performance and electronics. It's mostly just about different body styles, like this one we have the AK-74 and this one we have the MK18. They have a ton of other ones on the website. These blasters are absolutely amazing and are almost too realistic. If you took these orange tips off, it'd be hard to tell the difference. Definitely don't use these outside in public areas, even though I'm probably living in the worst place to use these right now. My MK18 has a few aftermarket accessories such as the flashlight and laser combo, the foregrip, the red dot sight, and that's it. You could put other Picatinny rail accessories on this blaster just in case you do want to, but what I have right now on it is basically all I need. This one has no rail accessories, so you really can't put any attachments on this. So if you do want to have a blaster that you can put accessories on, definitely look for blasters that have this rail system. Both blasters come with a very small 11.1 volt battery, but you could for sure upgrade it, which I did. But I'll be talking more about that in a bit. In the box, you get a 250 round magazine for the MK18 along with a 300 round magazine for the AK-74. To reload the magazines, it's pretty similar. Just lift up the flap at the top and let the bullets flow into the magazines. Along with that, you get 1,000 rounds of Emerbu Gellets in each box. The Emerbu MK18 does require a little bit of assembly, which is hard to do, especially since it doesn't come with an instruction manual. Luckily, I figured it out, which you'll see in the full review coming out soon. Both blasters are very high quality, and each of them have some weight to it. This one weighs in at about 5 to 6 pounds, while this one's closer to 4. Each of them has a full metal gearbox along with a nylon body. Both blasters also feature electric blowback, but sadly, the electric magazine feeding option on the AK-74 did break. But what you would do for the AK-74 is you'd pull this back, and then it'd load ammo straight from the magazine and feed it up into here. For the MK18, it does work still. All you have to do is pull back this charging handle. You'll hear it, and then it's ready to shoot. And for each blaster, there is an electric blowback feature. For the MK18, you can see it on the side here when you start shooting. And for the AK-74, it's a ton more powerful. You can put it on semi-auto all the way down here. And on full auto, this thing rips. Pretty crazy, I'd say. To install the battery in both these blasters, for the AK-74, you have to press this button right here, lift up, and the battery fits right into there. For the MK18, it's a little bit easier. All you have to do is slide the stock off, and then it's right there. With the stock battery on the MK18, you get around 225 feet per second at 14 rounds per second. But with the AK-74U with the stock battery, you get around the same 225 feet per second, but this one shoots at 17 rounds per second. And what I have in the AK-74U right now is what I would call an absolute juicer of a battery. To charge this battery, you're going to need a smart charger, which is around $40 along with a mini Tamiya connector. I wouldn't recommend getting this battery, but just in case you do want it, I'll leave it linked down below, along with what you'll need to get this thing charged up safely. When you put this battery in the MK18, it still shoots around 220 feet per second, but it increases the RPS to around 15 to 16 rounds per second. Same thing with the AK-74. The FPS stays around the same, but you can get 19 to 20 rounds per second with this battery in the AK-74. Just be careful when putting batteries like this in these blasters because they can overwhelm the gearbox and just absolutely shred your blaster to pieces. I wouldn't really take the risk, so I would stay clear of this, but in case you do want it, the links are down below. So what most of you guys might be thinking, how are these blasters rank only number 9 on this list? Well, there's a few factors starting with the price point. I've seen the MK18 for as low as $100 before, while the Emerbu AK-74 sits around the $130 to $140 price point, and the MK18 usually sits at $120 to $130. The performance of these blasters are both equivalent to something like a Surge XL, which is 3 times cheaper, or is around the same performance of the SRB400 for double and almost triple the price. They are really cool, but made more for looks and show than actual performance and practicality. They are still a ton of fun to use, but they couldn't get any higher on this list just due to the price and the other reasons that I mentioned. So if you do want to get any of these blasters along with the attachments, the battery, or the battery charger, they'll all be linked down in the description. If you order these blasters through the links, it will definitely help support the channel. Anyways, let's move right on to number 8. Okay, we have the number 9 spot. For this one, we're just going to use the Emerbu MK18 with the regular battery, and then we'll use the beefed up battery in the AK-74. Ow! Oh! 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 That's like an 8 right there. That definitely left. Is there a welt right there?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god.
Now let's try the AK-74 with a much bigger battery that shoots even faster. Oh my god, I'm scared, dude. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm so scared,
cool.
dude. You did. It just hit the shirt. You gotta shoot higher.
Okay.
No, you gotta shoot higher.
Alright.
Oh! Oh, that was like the exact same spot. I feel like that's around the same score though. That's like an 8 too. Oh. Okay, let's get right back into the video. Coming in at number 8, it was once one of my favorite blasters, but after using it for so long and working out what's good and what's not good about it, I think it earned the number 8 place correctly. That blaster being the SplatRBall SRB1200. Some people are probably thinking I'm crazy right now for ranking the blaster this low, but honestly, I think it deserves it. And honestly, it's not all that good features-wise compared to the other blasters on this list. This blaster has been used in various gel blaster wars throughout the months and years that I've done gel blaster wars, and it's been getting used less and less due to other blasters coming out that are just better than this. This blaster was used in our first real gel blaster war that we filmed all the way back in June of 2023. My friend introduced me to this and I fell in love right away with just the way this thing worked. I have one myself, but I haven't unboxed it yet. But yes, this is my friend's. In the box of this blaster, you get the massive 1200 round magazine, which we have. You also get 6,000 rounds of ammo. You also get a really nice pair of protective eyewear, a loading funnel, which is absolute garbage. Would recommend throwing that away as soon as you get it out of the box. The massive 7.4 volt 1800 milliamp battery, a removable stock, a sling clip, a water activated target, and of course the charger. The design of this blaster is very different from anything else you can find on the market, except the Temu version of this blaster, which I did use in the Temu video I did a while back. And I'm just gonna say, performance wise, was way worse than this blaster. It was actually probably 2 times worse than this blaster. The SRB1200 has a top iron sight. You have a big wide open area right here along with this at the tip. On the side you also have illuminated blue lights. And yes, they look really cool, but it's another one of the reasons why this blaster didn't get any higher on the list. Even if you have this blaster on safe, these lights will stay on, which much absolutely drain the battery of this blaster if you forget to turn it off. The blaster would be so much better if those lights were able to just shut off or not be there in general. To unplug the battery to turn those lights off, you have to pull this off and unplug the battery every single time, which does become a pain. It is really easy though. All I have to do is slide in the battery like that and then just plug it in like that, and then you can slide the cover back on. But it would be better if those lights were just able to be shut off or not be there in the first place. To load the drum mag on this blaster is a complete other issue because you have to load it through that tiny hole right there. That tiny hole is why this blaster came with a loading funnel, but honestly I hate using the loading funnel, so what I usually do is just take the SplatRBall refill bottle. And luckily you have enough ammo in here to last you through a couple rounds of wars, because usually I don't use 1200 rounds of ammo per war, but usually during the breaks between rounds I usually just fill this up a little bit. To put the magazine in this blaster, it's actually really easy. All you gotta do is slide it in like that, and it's right in. To release, all you have to do is press that orange button, comes right out. Or you could take this magazine out and use the Pyro magazine, which I mentioned earlier, slide it right into there. Yes, it doesn't look that good, but it fits. I really like the look of the regular drum mag better, just because I'm used to it and the design fits well. With the stock battery of this thing, you can get around 210 to 220 FPS at around 11 RPS. And here I got one of the batteries. I bought these a while ago and I've been waiting to test them, and for this video I finally tested them out, and holy crap. These units of a battery are 11.1 volt, 2000 milliamp. Quite a big jump from the original 7.4 or 1800 milliamp battery, but surprisingly these are actually smaller than the regular batteries that come with this thing. With these bigger batteries, you only get around a 10 FPS jump, but with these batteries it launches it up to 15 RPS. That is pretty sweet, but I must warn you that these batteries can strip a gear and fry your electronics if you plan to use them too much. It's better to be periodically used or not used at all, so I must warn you about that. Just in case you do want to get these, they'll be linked down in the description. The SRB1200 is still an amazing blast for wars and other scenarios like that. It's been used in a ton of Gel Blaster war videos just due to the sheer fact that it's a great blaster. The price of this blaster adjusts so often though, I must say that. Last year during the filming of my 2023 video, this blaster was $57, but nowadays sometimes it's $59, sometimes it's $70, sometimes it's $80, and sometimes it's even above $100. I wouldn't pay more than $70 for this blaster though, but if you watch and pay attention on Amazon enough, you'll find it for that $60 price point. So if you do want to get this blaster, I'll link it down in the description, along with those batteries I mentioned too. Anyways, let's get right into the number 7 spot, and trust me, you might be a little bit surprised. Okay, now we got the SRB1200 behind the camera. I'm ready to get shot with this thing. Oh! Oh! That was much more painful than I thought. That's like a 7 out of 10, maybe even an 8 out of 10. Holy. Really? Okay, let's get right back into the video. For number 7, we have two blasters sharing the spot because I feel like they are really good and they are very comparable to each other. Those blasters being the XShot Hypergel Tracefire and the XShot Hypergel HVG700. Some people might be thinking that these blasters should have a higher spot on the list, but I think they deserve the spot that they're in right now. I've had experience with both of them, and the HVG700 is not as good as people say it is. I'll get more into that in a bit though. First, let's talk about what both these blasters come with. The Tracefire comes with 10,000 rounds of ammo, an 850 round magazine, a 600 round external hopper, a removable stock, a refill bottle, a rechargeable battery, a charger, and a pair of protective eyewear. Quite a bit of stuff coming with this. And for the HVG700, we have 20,000 rounds of ammo, a 700 round magazine, a removable stock, a refill bottle, a pair of protective eyewear, along with a battery and charger like the other one. And even though these blasters might not look the same and they don't have exactly the same performance, they are pretty much evenly matched to get to this number 7 spot. Let's start off by talking about the Tracefire. The Tracefire is very different from any other blaster that you can really buy on the market. You have a massive 850 round magazine down here along with a pretty big size 600 round hopper up here. You can load directly into either of these. From the external hopper, you can just load through that system right there. Sadly, there is not a click mechanism, so it basically opens freely really easily. But with the magazine, you can press that button right there to take it out, and then you can load bullets straight into that hole right there. And from what I've experienced during Gel Blaster Wars and using this thing, you're not going to have to reload much, I'll just say that. And honestly, I haven't even reloaded the magazine at all during a Gel Blaster War because usually I just use the hopper up here. Just tip it upside down. Then as you can see, all the bolts from the magazine, except maybe a few, will go right into this hopper. But in case you do run out of ammo in your hopper up here, definitely have that magazine loaded. With that massive 1450 round ammo capacity, you'll be sure to have enough ammo during those big Gel Blaster Wars, and you'll last probably one of the longest out of anyone on the field. The surprising fact about it is that this is not even the biggest ammo capacity in this video yet. Stay tuned because I have a big one coming up. The Tracefire has a very firm and sturdy design with a very firm stock, which is actually pretty comfortable. You have Picatinny rails on the side along with up top, but you won't really be using the ones up top because, well, you got a hopper in the way. But something that you can put on the side as like a flashlight, a laser, maybe even a scope if you do want to use that, but honestly, gel blasters like this aren't accurate enough to need those anyways. To get the battery in here, all you have to do is press this orange button on the back of the foregrip, as you would call it. Slide it off, and then you have the battery right there. But when you're done, just slide the foregrip back on, and it's all set. The Tracefire has 3 shooting modes. You have safety, then you have semi-automatic, then you have fully automatic. The performance of this blaster is actually decently good. You can shoot at speeds of around 170 feet per second and around 11 rounds per second. The FPS is not all that good compared to some of the other blasters on this list, but for around the $30 to $35 price range, I'd say it's pretty good. Anyways, now that we're done talking about this one, let's get right to the HPG 700. And here we got the HPG 700. We're back on the trailer now. And just like the Tracefire, you have a very sturdy design on this blaster. This thing is very long, I'd say. HPG 700 also has a very durable stock, which slides on easily just like that. And then it works really well. It's not as comfy as the Tracefire one, but it still works well. Along with that, you have a pretty bulky 700 round magazine that's easily loaded by sliding the latch on the side of the magazine and letting the bullets flow in. You also have Picatinny rails all around, such as up here, up here, up here, and down here. And just like the Tracefire, you can put red dot sights, scopes. I wouldn't put a scope on it, but just in case that's your preference, go ahead. Lasers, flashlights, foregrip maybe. To put the battery in the blaster, somewhat like the Tracefire, just push down on this orange button here, then it slides right into that compartment there. Quite a bit of room up there, so you probably could upgrade the battery in this blaster too. The blaster also has 3 firing modes, being the same as the Tracefire. You have safety, semi-automatic, and then full auto. Also on top of the blaster, you have a power adjuster. And when it's pushed towards the front, you get the lowest power, being around 120 FPS. But when pushed towards the back, you can shoot at around 150 to 170 feet per second, which is not nearly as good as the 200 FPS marketed average. The HPG 700 also shoots at speeds of around 9 to 10 RPS, which is actually worse than the Tracefire. Performance is really good coming from both of these blasters. They are both decent for gel blaster wars, but they honestly don't have enough hop up to be able to shoot very accurately. There's still quite a few options on this list that are quite a bit better than these ones. The Tracefire on average is around $30 to $40, while the HPG 700 is usually around the $32 to $40 range. Honestly, I'd go with the Tracefire if I were you. Just in case you do want to get one of these blasters, they'll be linked down in the description. Anyways, let's get right on to number 6 and see what we got. Okay, for the number 7 spot, we got the XShot HPG 700 and the Tracefire. We're going to test out both of them, starting off with the Tracefire. It's like a 6, maybe 5, 6. Okay, let's get the HPG 700. Shoot me again. Okay, yeah. That's a 7. Solid 7. Coming in at number 6, we have one of the newest blasters to my fleet, that being the CosmoXToys Sirius. And even though this blaster is one of my newest blasters, it claimed this spot really quick. The CosmoXToys Sirius has actually been out for a while now, but I finally picked one up. And I honestly just wanted to know if it was as good as people said it was, and I was not disappointed. The CosmoXToys Sirius comes with a massive 1500 round drum magazine, a stock, a sling clip, a 7.4 volt battery which goes into here, a charger, 10,000 rounds of ammo, and a pair of protective eyewear. The CosmoXToys Sirius comes in 2 different colors, this one being one of them, along with an orange, white, and purple version. Both colors are pretty cool, but I much prefer this one. And what's different about the Sirius from other blasters, that you have a battery compartment right here. Slide that off and you have a massive stick battery right there. Then just slide the cover back on by lining it up and then slapping it into place. Then you can put it back in by lining it up and slapping it back into place. You're good to go. You have a rail system at the top, but sadly it doesn't work with any Picatinny rail accessories because that is way too wide. At the top rail, you do have 2 iron sights that are already pre-installed, but honestly, I wouldn't really use them because this blaster, I'm just gonna say, is not all that accurate anyways. You also have a foregrip up here. You can remove it and change the position of it. The stock is really firm, but sadly, even though it looks adjustable, it's not. On this side, you have a fire select switch. Sadly, you only have safety and fully automatic, but that fully automatic mode, pretty sweet. But after using this for a while, you can still use semi-automatic on full auto. It's a little less powerful due to the gearbox running and winding back up over and over again, so it's much better just to use it on full auto. The Sirius is a really fun blaster, and with that 1500 round magazine drum capacity, you'll be all set on ammo for probably a few rounds of Gel Blaster Wars. The performance of this blaster is actually really good too. It shoots at speeds of around 180 to 220 feet per second, which is quite a big range, but it adjusts every so often. And then you can get 10 rounds per second out of this blaster, which is really good for a blaster with that high of an FPS. Some people might be asking why this blaster is only at number 6 on the list. There really is no reason, it's just that it's not as good as some of the other blasters that I have down the road. It's still a great blaster that comes in at a price of around $70, but I got this one for $35 on Amazon before when there was a coupon, so make sure you look out for those kind of deals. But if you do want to get this blaster, the link will be down in the description. Anyways, let's get right on to number 5. We're in the top 5 now, baby. Okay, we got the CosmoXToys Sirius behind the camera. Let's get shot with this thing. Shoot me again. Okay. That's a 7. Solid 7 right there. There's definitely welts after that one. Let's get right back into the video. Coming in at number 5, my friends thought I was absolutely crazy for putting it this low on the list. But honestly, from using it this much and actually properly putting it through what it's supposed to go through, it actually should have been probably lower on this list. But honestly, I have to give it the number 5 spot because it's a fan favorite, a friend favorite, and it's honestly just a blast to use. That blaster is the HydroStrike Stratos Pro. It's a relatively new blaster to the feet and is now starting to get used in a ton more Gel Blaster wars on my channel now. At first, we honestly thought it all sucked due to the inaccuracy, but the biggest problem was that people were holding it like this and shooting it like that instead of the way you're supposed to aim it down. But after we figured that out, the thing was an absolute laser. The Stratos Pro actually comes with quite a bit of stuff. You have a massive pair of protective goggles, a 1200 round drum magazine, which we have right here, a 7.4 volt battery, a charger, a loading funnel, which honestly don't need it, a refill pouch, and finally 10,000 rounds of glow-in-the-dark ammo, all separated into packs of 500. That's the biggest pain out of anything in this video. 500 round packs and you have to pour 10,000 of them into a bucket at a time. Definitely do better, HydroStrike. But the HydroStrike Stratos Pro is still packed with features. Some of those features including a built-in trace unit, allowing you to use those 500 round packs of ammo properly. Along with that, you have a rotating barrel when you rev it up. Along with that, you have a removable top grip, which honestly, just leave it on there. This blaster still works very, very well, and even though it has probably one of the lowest FPS numbers in this video, it has some of the farthest range out of any blaster that I've ever shot before, which is weird coordination, but I guess just let it run the way it is. To install the battery on this blaster, you have a top cover up here, just easily slide it back, then the battery slips right into there. The massive 1200 round magazine in this blaster can easily be released by pressing this orange button on the bottom, and it comes right out. To load the magazine, you have a door right here, just easily slide that open, then the ammo will flow right into there. To load this magazine, what I usually do is use an ammo bucket because it actually works surprisingly well if you load it right. Or if you want to, just use a refill bottle, which honestly, you don't really need. But where the part comes in is the FPS of this blaster. The Stratos Pro shoots at speeds of around only 120 to 140 FPS, which is honestly not good at all. But you do get 11 rounds per second. The stats of this blaster are good, but compared to the other blasters on this list, The HydroStrike Stratos Pro comes in at a price of around $60, which is honestly not that bad for what you get in the box and what you actually get in the blaster. If you do want to get this amazing blaster, link will be down in the description. I have found this thing for around $50 before, and if you do want to get it at that price, definitely get it. It's a very fun blaster. Anyways, let's get right into number 4 and see what we got. Now we got the HydroStrike Stratos Pro, and I'm about to get shot with this thing. Might take a couple tries because, well, it's full auto. Again. It's actually not bad at all. It's more like a 5 out of 10. Coming in at number 4, and also 40 minutes later from the previous blaster. Got a little busy. And here we got the Faction Havoc. And the Faction Havoc is, in my opinion, and not really opinion, it is the most technologically advanced blaster that you can get out there. Usually that means good things, like technologically advanced. That usually means good things, right? For the most part, yes. Sometimes no. Which is the case for this blaster. To even activate this blaster and get it to shooting, you need to have a smartphone and download the Faction app. Honestly, that's just a pain to do. Why would you do that? It's easy to activate, I'll say, but it's definitely just a waste of time. But before I explain the features of this blaster, let's see what comes in the box. In the box, you get a massive 1750 round magazine, which is plenty. Which is also the biggest ammo capacity in this video. You also get a beacon with support stands. I'll talk about it in a bit. You also get a removable stock, a battery charger, 10,000 rounds of blue ammo, and only 500 rounds of glow-in-the-dark ammo. And then finally you get a pair of protective eyewear just like any other blaster. I'm going to talk about the tower beacon just to get out of the way real quick. Basically what it is that it's like a target tower that you can connect through the app and keep counting your score. I haven't really used it much because it honestly, it's just a piece of crap. I'm just going to be honest with you. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about the blaster itself. Starting with this massive 1750 round magazine that we got on this thing. 1750 rounds in a blaster is something I have never seen before, but there might be something out there that is more than that, but I haven't seen it yet. This massive ammo capacity will ensure you that you won't run out of ammo mid-war. Because usually during wars I use anywhere from 200 to 500 rounds per round, which is on the higher side, but still, you got like 3 rounds worth, or even more in there. This will ensure that you won't be the first to be out of ammo, unless you're just shooting full auto the whole time, which you shouldn't do anyways. The magazine's also pretty easy to take out and load. All you have to do is press this trigger on the side, push it forward, and it pops right out. And then you have a flap right here, just push it in, lift up, and then you can just load ammo easily right into there. Then to put it back on, just line it up, good to go. And another cool feature about this blaster that it comes with a built-in trace unit, hence why it comes with 500 rounds of glow-in-the-dark ammo. But honestly, only coming with 500 rounds of ammo and a 1750 round magazine, that seems kind of cheap. Along with that, we have a really firm and comfortable stock. It has some rubber padding on the back, which makes it really nice on your shoulder. On the bottom of the blaster, we also have the USB-C plug-in charging port, which I'd recommend putting a piece of tape over it, because during wet conditions, you might get some water in there, absolutely damaging your blaster. There are also some nice illuminated lights up here. These ones are green, even though they're supposed to be blue. Maybe it's just my blaster, but it's probably because I set it up wrong, because I sped through the unboxing of this thing to get it done. Anyways, on the side, we have the power button right there, and then you have 4 shooting modes. You have safety, semi-automatic, burst, and then full auto. And the semi-automatic response to this blaster is actually really insane. I wouldn't say it's as good as the StarFire 2, but it's definitely very close. And when testing out the trigger response, I got 6 rounds per second, which is decently good. The blaster itself shoots at speeds of 230 to 250 feet per second, which is the highest yet in this video. And with that, it comes with a very high pain rating. I already filmed all the pain ratings before this. This one really hurt, I'll say. But along with that, you get 9.5 rounds per second on average. That high FPS surpassed my expectations for this blaster when I first unboxed it. The Faction Havoc is packed with tons of features and makes it a really good all-around blaster. What most people might be asking is, why is this only number 4 though? Well, I did have a couple reasons beforehand, but one of the biggest reasons is that this blaster is $80. But occasionally you could find it for $70 on Amazon, and honestly, it's actually worth that price point, I'd say, even though that is pretty expensive. If you do see it at $70, I'd highly recommend getting it. Just in case you do want to get this blaster, the link will be down in the description. Anyways, let's get right into number 3. Okay, we got the Faction Havoc behind the camera. I'm scared for this one because this had one of the highest FPSs in the whole video. Ooh! That's a 9.
Really?
That's a 9. Oh, that's a 9. Oh, God, dude. Let's get right back into the video, and I'll see you at number 3. Back in the truck now, and it's honestly not for no reason, because don't do this, but the reason why I'm in this truck for the number 3 spot is because this is the blaster, or blasters, that I've done the most drive-bys with. And take my word for it, don't do drive-bys with gel blasters. It's just a funny thing I do with my friends when I show up to their houses. I don't do it at any public locations because that's how you get in trouble. And not just because of that, it comes in at number 3, but it's also one of my personal favorite gel blasters. Those gel blasters being the SRB400 and SRB400 sub. There are going to be a ton of gel blaster wars coming out soon where I use one of these models, and it's honestly for a really good reason. Not only is the performance of it astonishing, but also just because of how fun it is to use in the first place. Both of these blasters are basically the same thing, it's just that they come with different stuff and clearly are different colors. Both of them have the exact same performance besides the minor wear and tear because of the age of these blasters. The SRB400 regular version comes with a 400 round magazine, an orange removable stock, 5,000 rounds of ammo, protective eyewear, an orange sling clip, a 7.4 volt 1800 milliamp battery, a charger, and a shooting target. Whew! That's a lot. The SRB400 sub comes with the exact same stuff except the stock, and instead comes with a black sling to attach to the blue sling clip that's on the back. For the continuation of this segment, I'm going to be talking about the SRB400 sub because it's what I use most. Almost all facts, performance-wise, apply to the SRB400, so you don't have to be worried about any of the stuff I say about this not being true about this. The SRB400 is actually probably one of the oldest models on the gel blaster market, and to this day, still one of the best. Yes, the 400 round ammo capacity is a little bit tiny for these blasters, but honestly, I don't usually go through more than one of these magazines per round, but still it'd be more fun to have a bigger ammo capacity for this. Luckily, there is. One of them I don't have right now being the 800 round drum mag, which you could buy aftermarket for this thing. There's a blue version and an orange version, but I'm not going to spend $30 on a drum mag. But there are other options that'll get real quick. Starting off with the obvious, which you guys will probably know about, we have the Pyro magazine, which honestly does not look that bad on this blaster, I'm just going to say that. It will expand your ammo capacity from the original 400 rounds to 550 rounds, which will help you actually quite a bit. Or what you can do is take the magazine from the SRB1200 and put it and put it right into there, and it actually fits and looks really good on this blaster. But personally, honestly prefer the 400 round magazine just because it's a lot more light and nimble. I don't usually use more than 400 rounds per Gel Blaster War round anyways, so the 400 round mag is exactly what I need. And during Gel Blaster Wars, this blaster performs like an absolute unit. You got good range, good accuracy, and it's just a fun experience overall because it doesn't have a massive hopper that's in the way of your shooting sight. Honestly, I don't use the iron sights anyways. I point, shoot, and adjust from there. The SRB400 sling is somewhat helpful. Sometimes I put it on, sometimes I don't, but I also don't want to trip over it. I've never carried the SRB400 sub as like a sidearm or a secondary blaster because honestly, it works as a primary blaster. And I feel like it's just too good to be a regular secondary blaster. The sling isn't all that comfortable, but you can really buy any sort of sling to clip onto this because it's basically universal. The overall build design of these blasters is very durable and sturdy. It's heavy compared to most blasters, but it isn't heavy enough to where you'll get tired of carrying it. To put the battery in the blaster, it's pretty easy. All you gotta do is press this button right here, lift that up, and then you got the battery right there. When you're done plugging it in, just slide it back on, and you're good to go. And unlike the SRB1200, you don't have to unplug it every time you want to use it. Definitely a good thing for these SRB400 models. To load the magazine, all you have to do is take it out, obviously, and then you have to lift up this flap right here, and then you can easily load bullets right into there. On the left side of the blaster, you also have a fire select switch. You can switch between safety, semi-automatic, and fully automatic. The semi-automatic trigger response of this blaster is not all that good, but it's decent compared to some of the other blasters on this list. The SRB400 and SRB400 sub are capable of shooting FPS numbers of around 190 to 220 FPS, which is absolutely insane. Along with that, you get around 11 rounds per second. You can also use the massive battery like this one that I showed in the SRB1200, and it does change the performance quite a bit. Sadly, it drops the FPS of this blaster to around 200 to 210 FPS, but it boosts up the RPS to around 16 to 17 rounds per second, which is nuts. You also must be careful with these batteries due to the wear and tear on the gearbox and these things, because honestly, it'll probably strip the gears or just absolutely fry your electronics if you use it too much. The price of each of these blasters do vary depending on where you find them on Amazon. The SRB400 sub is actually found for around $40 to $50 on Amazon, which is actually a really good price for this thing. But the regular SRB400 is a different story. Now you can find this thing for around $76 on Amazon, which is sold by like third-party retailers because Amazon doesn't sell these by themselves for some reason. But sometimes this blaster fluctuates between $50, $60, $70, and sometimes even more than that. It's honestly just a better idea to go with the SRB400 sub at that point. You can also buy stocks on the SplatRBall website. You can get a blue stock for this one too. Anyways, if you do want to get either of these amazing gel blasters, the links will be down in the description. I'm just going to say it again, don't do drive-bys with these things. That's something I do. Trust me, don't do it. Anyways, let's get right into number 2. Okay, so we got the two SRB400 models here, and even though they shoot the exact same, I'm going to get shot with both of them for your guys' entertainment. Ooh, that's a 7. Right, no, that's a 6. For sure, 6. Ooh, same exact spot, but still 6. Whew. Okay, coming in at number 2, almost everyone that has been watching my other Gel Blaster countdown list will know exactly what this blaster is going to be. It was my first blaster, and it will still hold a place in my heart for being the best budget blaster that you can get. That blaster obviously being the AnsToy AKM47. The AKM47 was my first blaster that I had ever really seen. My friend brought one of these over a few years ago to show me. Then I went out and bought one myself, and the thing was absolutely awesome. The AKM47 comes with a 700 round hopper, a hopper feed neck, 20,000 rounds of ammo, a battery charger, and a pair of protective eyewear. Quite a bit coming with this small blaster. It's absolutely nuts for the size and price you pay for this little blaster. The 700 round hopper is easily loadable with the Gel Blaster Depot buckets that we got over there. It will allow you to easily reload your blaster quickly during Gel Blaster Wars. Even though the 700 round hopper is really big, the fire rate of this blaster drains down the bullets like crazy. The setup of this blaster is really simple and great for beginners, and a perfect blaster to get kids into the Gel Blaster hobby. To plug in the battery, all you have to do is lift up this flap right here, then you got the battery right there. When it's put in, all you have to do is slide it back on, and it's good to go. To turn on this blaster, there's a switch on the bottom, which all you have to do is switch it forward, and then you have a full auto mode. Sadly, there isn't any semi-automatic mode, but this blaster doesn't seem to be needing that mode anyways. The AKM47 comes in a whopping 8 different colors. At least at the making of this video. Might be less or more by the time this video comes out, or by the time you see this. Last year when this blaster was on the list, some of the colors started disappearing off the Amazon listing, but they did eventually show up a few months afterwards. The 8 colors of this blaster are black, purple, blue, green, Halloween, pink, red, and yellow. All designs are unique to their own, and with all these color patterns, you'll be sure to find the one that you like. I personally like the black camo better, which I did have until it just got broke due to water damage. Yeah, that's why you want to make sure that those Gel Blaster depot buckets are fully drained of water before you put them up here. The FPS of this blaster isn't all that good, coming in around 145 feet per second, but the RPS is where this thing really shines, with a staggering 13 rounds per second. This thing will absolutely mow down your friends during Gel Blaster wars. It's a great blaster and a good blaster for kids if they won't shoot their sibling in the face on full auto with that 13 rounds per second. The blaster is decent during Gel Blaster wars, but won't compare to some of the other blasters on this list. It's more fun if everyone has the same exact blaster. But what gave this blaster the number 2 spot is the price point, coming in at a price of around $20 to $27 depending on the style you get it from and when you buy it. That is a really good deal, and you'll get way more than what you pay for out of this blaster. Anyways, if you do want to get it, the link will be down in the description. Okay, now we got the AKM-47, and since I'm being generous for this video and the blaster doesn't shoot very fast at all, I'm going to take a full auto blast of this thing. You ready?
Yep.
Go. Woo! I feel like that's a 3.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt bad at all, but I could definitely feel it. Before we get to number 1, I feel like it'd be fair to go over some of the blasters that didn't quite make it into the top 10 list, but are definitely a really good choice. Starting off, let's talk about the Nerf Gelfire Raid. The Nerf Gelfire Raid didn't quite make this list just because of the overall performance of this blaster, but it's still a great choice. The Raid comes with 10,000 rounds of ammo, an 800 round hopper, and a pair of protective eyewear. Not too much, but you get what you pay for. The Raid is a shotgun blaster because when you pull this back, it shoots 5 rounds per trigger pull. Like I just did, just pump back the blaster and it's good to shoot. The 800 round hopper on this blaster is a massive amount of ammo for what you'll ever need for this shotgun. There have been a few videos where we use these shotguns during wars, and it's honestly fun to do if everyone has this blaster. The Raid shoots at a big span of speeds of around 150 to 190 FPS, which is pretty good for this blaster. The Raid can commonly be found for around the $20 to $30 price point, but I bought a few of them for around the $10 price point. That deal does actually happen quite often on Amazon, so I definitely pay attention for that. In case you do want to get this blaster, the link will be down in the description. Anyways, let's get on to the next honorable mention. Okay, now we got the Nerf Raid, which last year got one of the highest pain test ratings, so I'm scared for this year. Ooh! Okay, that's really only like a 4 or a 5, actually. Shoot me again. A 4 or 5, it's not that bad. I think it's just because the shots diverse too much. Anyways, let's get right back into the video. I might lose a few people in this next honorable mention because honestly, a lot of people don't agree with me on it. And that blaster is the Nerf Gelfire Legion. Yes, some people are probably thinking I'm nuts right now, but you gotta hear me out for a little. The Nerf Legion is the first ever gel blaster that Nerf released. The Legion comes with 5,000 rounds of ammo, a 130 round hopper, and a pair of protective eyewear. The Legion is an amazing prime action pistol that is perfect for all ages across all different skill levels. Whether it's just for backyard plinking, use it for target practice, or even using it for Gel Blaster wars. Up on screen now is some of the footage that I got in the duo's pistol war where my teammate and I used this thing. And we did pretty good together, but sadly we didn't win a single round. The Legion is equipped with a slam fire feature. What that feature allows you to do is to hold down the trigger and prime this back really fast. The blaster can shoot at speeds of around 140 feet per second, which is actually pretty good for this little pistol. And with that slam fire feature, I can usually get around 4 to 6 rounds per second. You can also buy an 800 round aftermarket hopper, which will fit on this, the Raid, the Mythic, the Uproar, and the Quadrant. Along with that, this hopper comes with 20,000 rounds of ammo on the box, which you can see up on screen right now. This hopper will give you a massive ammo capacity for the Legion, but I don't really recommend it because you won't usually go through this much ammo with the Legion anyways. But if you do want to get this hopper, the pistol link will be down in the description. Now let's get on to one more quick honorable mention before we get into the first place spot. Okay, now we got the Nerf Legion. This one shouldn't hurt bad, but I might get surprised. It's like a 2 or a 3. Let's get right back into the video. For the final honorable mention, we have the UnlockX 4-in-1 Gel Blaster Kit. This blaster was really close to becoming number 10 on this list, but the StarFire 2, honestly, is much better. It's still an awesome blaster that comes with a 7,000 rounds of ammo, a 700 round magazine, a massive refill bottle, 7.4 volt 1800 milliamp battery, a charger, and a pair of protective eyewear. This blaster is also able to change into 4 different body styles. Sadly, I can't do it right now because I don't have the pieces with me, but you'll see up on screen. The blaster itself has a really good build quality and is actually pretty fun to use. Sadly, you only have a safety and fully automatic shooting mode, which is not common in blasters of this price and especially type. The blaster can shoot at speeds of around 170 to 200 feet per second and at 9 rounds per second, which is really good, but that $65 price point and the overall fun factor of this blaster does not get it onto the actual top 10 list. I definitely recommend going for some other options that were on this list, but in case you do want to get this gel blaster, the link is linked down in the description. Anyways, let's get right on to the best gel blaster of all time. Okay, we got the UnlockX 4-in-1 kit now. Let's get shot with this thing. Oh! Okay, yeah, that hurts. 7 out of 10. For sure, 7 out of 10. Next test will be the last blasters. Let's get into it. I'm sure almost every single one of you know exactly what's number 1 on this list. It's basically impossible to beat from what I've seen so far, and you obviously know what it is. It's every single one of these models right here. We got the StarFire 2XL, the Surge XL, and the StarFire XL. As you can see, all 3 of these blasters have the exact same design, but also the StarFire 2XL has a much different performance than these other ones. I'll be getting back onto that in a bit, but if you're wondering where's the Surge 2XL, haven't been able to find it anywhere, just like the Surge XL I mentioned earlier in this video. The Surge 2XL would also have made it onto this list, but I don't have one available to actually put on here, so I guess we'll have to wait. But the Surge XL and StarFire XL are basically the exact same thing. I don't have any facts yet on the Surge 2XL because I haven't been able to find anyone that's ever reviewed one, but I'll probably have a review out sometime on the channel soon. I'll first be talking about the Surge XL and StarFire XL variants before I get into the StarFire 2XL, because I'm sure most of you guys might be wanting to get one of these instead. You'll find out why in a bit. The Surge XL comes with a 1,000 round hopper, 10,000 rounds of ammo, a battery charger, a movable stock, a sling, a velocity adjustment knob, and a pair of protective eyewear. Not this tracer unit, this is one I added on. And then here we got the StarFire XL, which basically comes with the exact same stuff, except this one comes with a tracer unit and 5,000 rounds of glow-in-the-dark ammo instead of the regular 10,000 rounds of ammo that comes with the Surge XL. You can buy the tracer unit to put onto this blaster if you do want to, but if you want the tracer unit, just go with the StarFire XL at that point. It's kind of cheaper. Both these blasters are charged through a USB-C port at the bottom of the blaster. These switches on the bottom also allow you to turn the blasters on. And then at the top, you'll see the green light indicators. Each bar represents a 25% module and percentage unit. This is very helpful to see how charged up your blaster is while charging. On the side of each blaster, you also have a fire select switch. You can switch between semi-automatic to burst mode to fully automatic. Pretty fun to use, I'd say. You also have a velocity scale on both of these blasters that show you how much power is going through the blaster. The lowest power is best for kids, while the highest power is best for trying to actually injure people. I usually leave it on the second bar because it shoots really well and the FPS is not all too high, but it works really well. Both blasters should have the same FPS and RPS numbers, give or take depending on the age of the blaster and along with the wear and tear. The Surge XL and the StarFire XL on the lowest power of speed shoot around 160 to 170 feet per second. No matter the power setting on these blasters, you can get around 10 to 11 RPS. If you shift the power all the way to the top, you can get around 180 to 210 feet per second. It's fun with that power, but not all that accurate. I definitely recommend leaving it around that middle section for the best performance. The Surge XL comes in at a price around $50 to $60, but I have seen it for around $45. The StarFire XL is usually around the $60 to $70 range. Both blasters are quite expensive, but you get more than what you pay for. Both blasters are an awesome option for beginners, experts, and all gel blaster enthusiasts, except for maybe kids because these things clearly shoot pretty hard. Now let's talk about the StarFire 2XL. The StarFire 2XL comes with 10,000 rounds of regular ammo, 5,000 rounds of glow-in-the-dark ammo, a 1,000 round hopper, a removable stock, a velocity adjustment tool, a battery charger, and a pair of protective eyewear. Pretty similar to the regular models besides maybe the trace unit and ammo options. All features of this are basically the same to the regular blasters, except obviously the color. I like this color design a lot better too. The biggest difference is the performance between these blasters, but before I get into the performance, let's explore some of the features that are a little bit different. Just like the regular StarFire 2, this thing has a flashlight on the front. All you have to do is turn the blaster on, press the power button, shoot one, then it turns right on. It's the same exact brightness as the other one. It's honestly not that bright at all. Turn it off, just press it again, and you're good. Okay, the performance of this blaster is where it really comes out. The trigger response, like the StarFire 2 I went over at number 10, is absolutely insane. Really good trigger response. The StarFire 2XL is one of the most responsive blasters that I've ever shot. I'm able to shoot at speeds of around 6 rounds per second on semi-automatic, which is really good. The StarFire 2XL can also have its velocity adjusted. With the lowest setting, you can get around 180 to 190 FPS, but with the highest power, you can get around 230 to 240 FPS. But also, you get around a 10 round per second average. The StarFire 2XL is definitely an improvement from the previous blasters. The StarFire 2XL can only be found at Walmart as of now for a price of $78, which is quite expensive, but if you do want to save some money, you might just want to go for the regular Surge XL or StarFire XL, as I mentioned. The links for all these blasters are down in the description in case you want to get them. Okay, for this segment, I have the StarFire XL, the StarFire 2XL, and the Surge XL, and I'm going to be getting shot with every single one of these. The StarFire XL is set on full power, the Surge XL is set on the minimum power, and StarFire 2XL is right in the middle. Let's get shot with all three of these, starting with the Surge XL. 5. Okay, time for the StarFire 2XL set on medium power. Again. Oh! That's an 8. Definitely an 8. Oh boy, I'm scared. Oh! Ooh! That's a 9. That's a 9 right there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but let's get right back into it to see the last segment. And there you have it. We're back inside now for where almost every single Oakley Entertainment review takes place. And as you can see behind me, I've unboxed and reviewed a ton of blasters, and I have a ton of experience with these kind of blasters, and that list I made is the best of them. I'm sure a few of you are probably going to disagree with me, and I'm honestly up to argue with you, but just keep it respectful, and I'm sure most people have probably already left a comment right now if they're going to disagree with me. Thank you guys for watching. All the products will be linked down below, and if you purchase through the links, it will help support the channel. But anyways, I get some of these blasters were really expensive in this video, so that's why I made this video up here where I go over the top 10 best cheap gel blasters that you can get in 2024. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll have to see you in that video.
Today we're going to be counting down the 10 best gel blasters that you can buy for under $30 in 2024. All of the products that I'm going to list in this video are going to be linked down below. And I just want to say before I start, this is just my opinion.